Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will walk you through the installation of Kali Linux 2024 in a virtual machine on a Windows 11 system. This is a step-by-step guide on installing Kali Linux 2024 on a VirtualBox. And make sure you do not skip any step. So without further ado, hit that subscribe button if you're new, hit like if you like the video, and let's get started. First, we have to make sure some preparations are done. So make sure your virtualization is enabled. Virtualization allows your system to run virtual machines quite smoothly without stuttering or struggling too much. Now to check this, you just have to right click here on Task Manager. Basically just open Task Manager and then go to the Performance tab, and in here on CPU you can see that there is an option called Virtualization right here. Now if this says enabled, that means you don't have to do anything, you can continue on with the video. But if it says disabled, then you have to make sure it is enabled. So this is different for every BIOS, every laptop. So just search your motherboard name, or if you're using a laptop, just search your laptop name and just search for how to enable virtualization on Google or YouTube. It should be really simple and it shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 seconds. Now that you have done that and made sure that everything is okay, the first step to installing Kali Linux in a virtual machine is to actually get the virtual machine. So to do that, open up a browser of your choice. I'll be using Chrome. You can use any browser you like. Then just search for VirtualBox. And if you search VirtualBox, this should be the first link that pops up. Just click on it and there we go. Now just hit the download, the huge download button right here. And then you'll see there is a bunch of options right here. We want the Windows host because our base system is Windows. Now I already have this downloaded, so it's saying if I want to download it again. Well, I don't. So now you just have to wait for it to download. Now there we go, it's now downloaded. Okay, so after downloading, here's our file that we need to install. To install it, just double click on it and then the installation should start. And the installation is fairly simple. You just have to hit next, next, and then this is warning you about network interfaces. So VirtualBox will install some extra network interface which will show up in the Task Manager. So just hit yes, it's fine. Then it will install Python core. So it needs Python basically, and the Win32 API. Just hit yes and then install. Now this will start installing VirtualBox on your system, and then if you hit finish, then it should just open up. And as you can see, I already have some virtual machines because, well, I do use this for myself. Now what we have to do is get Kali Linux. So to do that, open again, go to your browser. Let me just make a new tab. Then just go to kali.org. And if you just go to kali.org, this will be the website you'll be greeted into. And then you just hit download. Now once you hit download, this is the menu you should be seeing. And in here you can see there is a bunch of options right here. Now I will not pretend that there is not a virtual machine option right here. Now if you are someone who just wants to plug and place with Kali Linux, you can get this version. It's quite simple to use, but we want to customize everything, so we'll go with the installer images. You also have ARM, mobile cloud, containers, library, and WSL. This is also really handy. I also have a video on it. You can check that out if you want. So we'll get this one installer image. Just click on this, and then you can see there are a few versions here. So let me just quickly give you an overview of what each of them are. So the installer, the normal one, is basically your standard ISO. So it's almost like your normal installation media where it will just give you an ISO. You just bind it to a pen drive or however you want to use it, and it will give you the step-by-step process of installing the system. So it is languages and everything you'll see once you get this. Then you have weekly, which is basically the beta version of the system. So these are some untested features or some extra beta features that are being tested and not fully implemented. So if you want to experiment with Kali Linux, or you are a bit familiar with the normal one and you want to experiment with it, you can get this one. Then we have net installer, which is just, it will basically install everything over the internet. So it's fairly simple. Then you have everything, so it will give you every single tool and every single plugin and everything that you can imagine. It will give you that one, but we don't need to worry about these three. We want this installer right here. Just if you click on download, this will just directly download it, and you can also use torrent if you want. Now I already have this downloaded, so I won't download it again. Oops. Here's the Linux file that is downloaded, so I'll just minimize this, and then now we have to create the virtual machine. You can hit new, and then this menu will pop up. Now the first thing that you want to do is name your virtual machine. So this name can be anything you want, but usually Kali Linux is the default way to go. Oops. Then VirtualBox has a really cool feature. Now you can see that it's wanting us to give this type and version, but you can just directly select your ISO and it will detect it automatically. So if you just go to other and then click on Kali installer, so Kali Linux, the ISO you just downloaded, hit open, and as you can see, this is grayed out because it automatically detects what you're trying to install. So it's saying Ubuntu 64, don't worry about it. Kali is based off of Debian, but Ubuntu is basically based off Debian as well, so it shouldn't matter too much. Just hit next, and then you can see it's wanting memory. Now it is recommended to give it at least 4 gigabytes of RAM to run properly, but I always give it 8 gigabytes just to be safe. Now if you have more, so if you have more RAM in your system, you can allocate more to it, but just keep in mind that do not go over this green line and stay within this. Don't give it too low, like don't just give it 1 or 512 megabytes, and don't go too high where your main system struggles because it's not getting enough RAM. And as for CPU, you can go 3, or I like to go with 4 cores, again staying within the green section here, and then hit next. After that, you can see it by default it just gives you 25 gigabytes, and I like to keep it this way because I don't install too much on it. And if you don't want to install too much software, or maybe you don't want to store too much file on it, then 25 gigabytes is more than enough. So I'll just keep it at that, but if you think you need more storage, just change this to whichever value you want. Then you hit next, and this will give us a quick overview of what it is actually creating. So then we hit finish, and our virtual machine is created. Now hold your horses and don't just start this right now. Now go to settings, so select the virtual machine, select the virtual machine, and then hit settings. We have a bit of configuration to do. Now in here you can see that whatever it is selected, so in case you want to change this, you can actually change it after you have created the virtual machine, so it's fine. We will not worry about this. We just want to go to system, and then just make sure everything is okay. So, and here you can see that nested VT. So if you want to again use virtual machine within virtual machine, you can actually do this, but I would not recommend it. Then we go to display. Now this is a bit important. You have to give all of video memory because this is what actually renders stuff on screen. So you need to give it more so it can work with more graphical things. Enable 3D acceleration, and then you can see it says monitor count. So how many monitors you want to use. So if you have multiple monitors, you want to use multiple of them, you can just select this to be 2 or 1, whatever you prefer. Then we have storage. You can see this is our ISO. So in case you forgot to put the ISO there, which I don't know why you would do that, you can just add it from here, and then you can remove it with this. Also, you can just choose a disk file and you can select the ISO from here as well. Now we go to the network, and in network you can see it is attached to NAT on NAT. But if you want your virtual machine to be discoverable in your network, so your main network, you would want a bridged adapter where it will actually just connect to your normal network. For this tutorial, I'll go with bridged adapter, and you can see the holds how answer. We'll go with bridged adapter, and you can see just specify which one you want it to do. So I'll just go with the normal one, and then these things should be the same. You can add shared folders and stuff. I missed something. Just go to general, and then in advanced you'd see there's two options right here: shared clipboard and drag and drop. This should be the one I came to first, but I accidentally missed it. I forgot about it. Now in shared clipboard you can just do it bidirectional, where if you copy something from Windows you can actually paste it in your Linux system, and you don't have to do some voodoo magic for that and just search the same thing in the, and trust me, I have done that. So just hit bidirectional, and in drag and drop it's basically you can drag something from your Windows machine and just drop it onto your Linux system. Now I don't want to enable this just because sometimes it may get a bit annoying when you're trying to move stuff around. So that's basically it for the configuration, and you can just hit OK, and now it's saved. Now we are ready to start our virtual machine. Then hit start, and it will start the machine. And in here we just want to press enter because we want a graphical install, because it will give you a GUI, and the normal install will just give you a terminal to work with and wish you luck. Now here you can see it's asking for a language, so we'll just go with English. Location I'll just keep it in default, and then your keyboard, so which type of keyboard you use. I do use an American English keyboard, so it's fine. And then just wait for it to initialize some stuff. Now in this part it will try to install network drivers, and it will do some networking. So if you want this to be faster, you can just disconnect your network, because in some machines I have tried which this takes forever. I don't know why, but this sometimes takes a really long time. So if you're having issues with that, then just unplug the network and you should be good to go. And you can see it says the host name is a single word that identifies your system to the network. So whatever you put in here will actually just show up in the network. So if I just put Windows here, so if someone tries to look into what machines are actually connected, it will show up as Windows. So why not? Then we'll just go continue, and as for the domain name, you can just skip this part. Then you want to give a username, then we'll go continue, and in here this is the part that you should remember. So whatever you put here is your username, so this is what you will need to log into your system. So just remember what you put in here. Then you hit continue, and then just choose a password, and again try to remember what you type in. You can just show your password if you are not sure what you typed in. Then hit continue, and as for the clock, just this should just get it by default which clock it should use, but if it doesn't, you can just select it manually. So just hit continue, and then in this part it will ask you to partition some disk, so wait for it to set up. Now select guided use entire disk. So since we are using a virtual machine, we don't have to go through the manual process. So just continue, and then select the one virtual drive we have. Hit continue, and we'll go with all in one partition. Now if you use separate home partition, it will give you a separate root and a home partition. So you'll have a root user and a separate normal home user. And this is basically for pro users, so we don't need this. We just want all in one partition. And now let's look at this here. The swap is basically a part of your storage that is being used for almost like substitute RAM. So it's a really big oversimplification, but it's basically what it's doing. Then if we check that everything is fine, we just hit here, finish partitioning, and write changes to disk, hit continue, and then it will make sure that everything is okay, just to double check that we didn't make any mistakes. So then we just hit yes and continue. Now it will start installing the base system. Now after it is done, you can see there is a few options here, and these are the desktop environment. So these ones just specify what a desktop will look like and how it will feel. Today we are going with GNOME, and make sure you install one of them. Now if you select multiple, it will install multiple of them, but they can sometimes just conflict with each other and create extra issues that you don't want to troubleshoot. So just select one of these, and you can see these are collection of tools. These are top 10 most popular tools and default recommended tools which are available in type system. Now I don't want this top 10 most popular tools because it just adds more stuff to your system, but if you do want this, then sure, why not. Then hit continue. Now this will take a bit of time because, well, 2624 files is no joke. So we'll just leave it happening, and I'll see you guys after this is done. Now this step is it's trying to install the grub bootloader. We want to install this in our primary drive. Hit continue, and then select the drive, then just wait for it to install. Now this will finish up the installation, clean up everything that needs to be cleaned up. So just wait for it, and again we'll be back after this is done. Now there we go, it's done installing everything. Now we just hit continue. Now normally you would have to remove your installation media, but virtual machine will do it for us, so we don't have to worry about that thing. So now there we go. There we go. We hit enter, and Kali Linux should boot up. There we go. Kali Linux just booting up, and as we hit here, and then just there we go. We just logged into Kali Linux. Just give it a moment to start up everything. It took a bit of time, but there we go. Now this GNOME supports full screen by default, but we need to install the VirtualBox add-ons now, or additions, to use the extra feature like copying clipboard and stuff. So let me just go to full screen mode. So you can hit Control F. So if your VirtualBox configuration is by default, you can just hit Control F, or you can do this by just going to View and then going to full screen mode, or there is a seamless mode, but we'll go with full screen. Now you can see Kali Linux is installed, all the tools are here. So let's see how to install VirtualBox additions. So first thing that we want to do is update and upgrade our system. So we will do, so if we do this, ask for our password, then it should update everything and upgrade anything that needs to be upgraded. So we'll just hit yes, and it will just download everything and upgrade our system. So well, see you guys after this is done. It took ages, but after it is done with updating everything and getting everything up to date, and yeah, make sure that you do this before you do anything, because well, it will help you a lot. Now after we have done that, we just want to reboot. So reboot now. Oops, well, sudo it is. Reboot now. Yeah, so now we're rebooting the system, and whatever anyone says, make sure you reboot your system every time you update. Although Linux does install stuff while it is updating, like live, but every time restart if you are updating your system. Now there we go, we are back. Now hold up, don't just leave the video just yet. We have to still install the add-ons. So yeah, just a little bit more. We have a little tiny bit more work to do. So open up your terminal again, and then here are the commands. The first thing we need is a Linux headers. So this is the command that we need to use, and if I just hit enter, give my password. So why I typed in T for so now we'll just let it install, and it shouldn't take too long to do this, so just wait for it to finish. So after this is done, just go to your devices, so here, and then click on this. So insert guest addition cd. Now after you do this, you will see, let me just go here, and then in here it is. So if you go here, you can see this is the thing that it will add into your system. So now just copy everything. So Control A, Control C into your documents folder right here. Well, because Kali Linux doesn't allow you to write stuff into like other systems, so it's a bit picky about that. So then what we have to do is we actually have to run. Let me show you. Where is it? This one. We have to run this one, but the issue is we need to first give it permission. To do that, what you have to do is just first, and let me just go to downloads. So documents, I mean. You can just tap to autocomplete. So then here we have to do chmod 777. You can do it like this, or you can just hit +X. It's basically the same thing, but this is better. So 777, and then vbox. So vbox linux additions.run. So this is basically what you have to type. Then hit enter, and then do sudo /vb linux additions run, and then hit enter, and then we'll hit yes. Just type in yes and then hit enter. Now after this is done, so now we just have to reboot one more time. Oops. Just hit or just reboot. So first we open the terminal, and then we just type in cat OS release. So this will give us information on what we are installing and what we have installed. So you can see version is 24.2, and we are using Kali Linux. Now with that is done, so now let me just command something from my Windows file here. So let's just say I have Let's say I want to copy this, so if I just hit Control C and then just hit Control Shift V, as you can see, it copied over. So now you can copy and paste it here, and that's basically what guest addition adds. So make sure you add this to your system. Now here's the conclusion. So if you are doing this, I will put this while you're getting a desktop environment, but if you want a faster version, you should get the XFCE desktop environment, because while I used it, it is really fast, so it works really well. So I would recommend you use that. If you're really low on RAM, or maybe you are low on resources, XFCE is a good option. But if you want a more cleaner and a more Mac like look, then GNOME is the clear winner here, because well, look at these animations, like dang. So anyway, that's the video. So thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, hit like for the algorithm and subscribe and all the YouTuber thing that you should do. So leave a comment if I missed anything, or maybe if you have any issues, or maybe if you want to see more videos like this. So bye.